You can do it too. Easy as 1, 2, 3. You can do it too. Come along and draw with me. Pads and pencils, a very good start. So when you draw with your heart. You draw with your heart, 'cause you can do it too. You can do it too. You can do it too.
Hi, my name is Lydia Forte-Santiago. Now, remember when we left off in our last lesson? What we did? We drew the pear and we drew it in black and white. We did a nice charcoal drawing and we added our different values. And now what we're going to do is we're going to color it in. And we're going to use the same procedure that we did when we did the black and white with the charcoal. We're going to take it and we're going to take the darkest green and we're going to draw in our shadows. So we want to make this pear come alive and make you want to eat it. So let's make it look three-dimensional. And what I said last show, remember what I said? What is art is about? Art is about light on form. So what are we really drawing? We're drawing and we're studying the way the light hits the object. In this case, the object is a pear. The light is coming from the left, so we're going to kind of intensify the light on the left. And on the right, there's just a little bit more shadows right on the crease. There's a crease here on the pear and on the bottom, and then a beautiful pear shadow on the table. So we're going to start with the darkest shade, and using the same method, we're going to darken a dark shade of green. And remember what I said, I'm working with soft pastels because they're easy to manipulate. And then what we're going to do is we're going to kind of lighten it up as we move closer to the center of the pear. And you're going to change your value in color. Now studying this pear has a lot of yellow to it. So we're going to kind of throw that in. You see the way I use my fingers to blend? And you know, soft pastels you can mix. I'm running it in to the darker shade. And you do it gently. Gently, and you take your time. Remember what I said about time? Take your time and do it nice and slow. And I also hold the pastel like this because the flat surface touches the canson paper. Remember, we're working with canson paper because canson paper is easier and works best with the soft pastels because you have to have the right tools. You have to have the right paper and you have to have the right pastel because it's softer to work with. So we're gonna and remember what I said in our last lesson? You kind of press to make a shadow on a shade intense. You press hard, but as you lighten up, You kind of lighten up with the touch of your hand. The pressure doesn't stay the same. The pressure changes. It's very important that the pressure changes. You want a three-dimensional effect, you have to get the pressure to change. Right behind the stem is just a little bit, I see a little light there, and then I see a little bit of darker, like a little brownish for the stem. And then I take my gum eraser and the pencil, which is the dark green, and just kind of right in here. That's where the stem sets in. You want to kind of show that it's going inside the pear. And then you want to make it a little bit of a light brown. And you work very slow, and you take your time. And right here, we can kind of change. Remember what I said? Now you start bringing the lighter shade. You want to kind of fade into the color. You don't want to, it has to be like a different degradation of color. You don't just do one shade and then the other. It has to be a nice little blend. This is what makes it three-dimensional. You could cross hatch. This is cross hatch. When you take your pencil and you stroke in one direction and then you stroke in another direction, that's cross hatch. We call that cross hatch. Now we take our yellow and we could kind of bring it over the green a little bit, because from what I see, how the light falls on the pear. So now that color is lying underneath because we're following the flood of light. And we want to make it as realistic and as three-dimensional as possible. And you always back up a little bit to look at it, because you see it kind of like in a better perspective. And then you could kind of drag some of this green out. This is dragging the color. You could drag. I'm dragging it. And as I'm looking at this, I see like tiny little spots of green, kind of, if you look real close. Sometimes when I want to see things really close, I take a magnifying glass and I kind of like zone in. Or you can also cup your hand and you kind of could just zone in on the pear or nothing else. Like this. You zone in and you just look at the object itself. This way you don't see anything around you. So this is called zoning in. You zone in and you just look at it to see things more intense. This way you could see it by itself. And this way you're kind of blocking all the other light. You're just focusing on the pear. And right as we look here to the right, there's a lightness here of light. Remember what I said, light on form? I study this light here, and you drag it. So that's kind of by doing that, just kind of make that indentation go in. And then also, if we study right around the stem, there's a lightness there. And we could kind of lay it down and stroke it like that. It's kind of another plane. See, so now when we look at it, we see the top of the pear. There's a plane to it, and this is the plane right here. This way you could kind of feel it going around. It's all about feeling. Art is about feeling. Drawing from your heart and feeling it and enjoying it. It's all about feeling. There's a little yellow on this stem with a little green. And then right here, I see a little bit of shooting right here. I see a little bit of highlight there. And I see a little bit of highlight there. And I see a little bit more. Let's look back. Oh, right here to the right, there's just a little bit more lightness. Now, the light touch of my hand, it's a lighter touch. And the reason lighter touch being because I want it to be green, but not as green. I want it not as green, so I'm just forming the pear. And we look back a little bit like this, we study it. Now there's a little this is called reflected light. There's just a little sharp light here, a little bit intense. So you don't even think, it's a pear, we know it's a pear, but don't think of it as a pear. Think of just like I mentioned in my last lesson, it's light on form and how it falls. And you could do it too, because if I could do it, you could do it. And it's easy and it's fun. Now you could see that it has to turn. See how now it's turning? See how this pear is turning? You could see it turn. There's a little reflected light. There's just a little reflected light there, so it turns. And right up here on the top, kind of there's a little shade, a lighter shade of green. But it's there. And you train your eye so you could be keen at what you observe. If you have a keen eye, you could see things. You could see an extra shadow that you wouldn't see ordinary because you're really, really looking. So you have to train your eye to really look at it and observe it. And always think of what I said, the light and form. That I can't stress enough, because all the painting schools and courses and private teachers, it always goes back to that light on form. Now we look at it. Now it's coming to to life. The stem, this has like a brown tint to it, so I'm gonna, and then as it gets close to the bottom of a stem, right here it has some greenish, and then it has like kind of like a little bit of yellow. So you have to put that in. You have to put all, and then it's just a little bit lighter in the center, so we got to put that in too. And then I'll take my gum eraser because I want to blend that. So you could use your gum eraser to blend that. And then as the stem reaches the top, right around it, if we look at it, right, it's just a little bit darker right in here. And that you have to put. You have to put every detail. You got to really make it look realistic. This is just a little brown. So I know it has a little brown. And kind of the pear has a few little marks here and there. You can kind of put them into. Don't forget, we're studying light and the way it falls. Well, there's a light here, too. There's a light there. Light bounces off. Let's look at it again. And then you could take kind of like, I see those little marks. Here's another technique I use. I just kind of slap it on. See, it's like getting different strokes, kind of like the imperfection of the pear. So you kind of slap in the pastel to get those little imperfections of the pear. And then you can kind of like put a little bit of a we just kind of sharp. We want to just put something here so it's the table. See those little imperfections, just add a little bit more to the painting, the artwork. Here has a little, you know, pears have little nicks here and there. The gum eraser, we're going to kind of highlight that. Always remember that you must draw slow and take your time. You're never rushing. You want it to look as realistic as possible. Now it's beginning to look realistic. It has some little lines of kind of demarcation there, so you want to kind of bring that out too. That's why if you practice over again, the more you see to it, the more you add. Let's put this color in. This is a different lighter. Look. Put this around. That's to just show that the pear is going around. You back off, you look at it, and you feel it. And you see, it could be lots of fun. Not only is it fun, it's also very relaxing. This is very relaxing. And here's my white. Don't forget, you reinstate things, like you do them, and then you come back to it, and you kind of reinstate it. Like I'm looking over here at the light at the top, and there's like a highlight there. So you want to kind of bring it out. Then I look over here where the pear, this indentation, and I see there's another highlight there. So I want to place it there. And you just kind of like hit it. That you hit, you know. And you look back again, and you look at it to see that it's the way you want it to be. This side of the pear, it's kind of like that green, kind of like fades away a little bit. So I'm going to just put this color in here. I'm going to put this color. Like that. And then I hold the pastel like this, because now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this color and push it to the center. Very light and very gentle. And I back off again. And then I look right on the top here of the pear, and I just put and take this shade of green, and I'm going to do what I did here with my, I'm just going to place the color, but then I'm going to kind of drag it and push it lightly to the center. Now these are all little techniques, and after a while that you do them and you repeat them and repeat them, you can do it too. And it becomes easier. You might do it once and then you try again. And the more you do this, the easier it gets. So now we look at this and we see that the pear is taking shape. And remember what I said in the beginning about keeping your art clean, and sign and date all your artwork. The more you sign it and you date it, it always adds value to your art piece. Now there's a little bit of brown here. And like I said, I saw the little nicks there and there, here, and I saw a little nick there. Not much, it's just kind of like a little stroke here and there. But that kind of makes it more like realistic and genuine. Now you look back. And don't forget your cast shadow. As you go in and you look at the bottom, it's always darker because it's sitting on the table. If you follow this principle that I'm teaching you with everything that you do, you'll find that you'll get very good results. Because it's always, first you do the light drawing. And when you do the light drawing, you do it lightly. Being lightly so you could kind of get it. Once you're sure and you like the way it looks, if you don't like the way it looks, don't continue. You take the gum eraser and you erase it and you fix it. And little by little you fix it. But when you feel in your heart, because we're drawing from your heart, remember, you could do it too. Then you press and you come in stronger. And then after you come in stronger, you reinstate it. Reinstate it makes even stronger. So now you have your form. And then after you have the black and white and it's done, then you come and you start applying your color. And color makes it more intense, of course. Now look at your pear. Look what we're doing. Right here in the top of the stem, I just noticed something. It's just a little bit darker because it's this side. So I'm going to kind of darken that. There. I'm going to come. Yeah, that's going to be a little darker. Now, if you feel you went too much like I feel here, I could just kind of like take a little bit of the yellow. It's very good to work with pastel because it's very flexible. And then the left side here, I see it's lighter. So I'm going to kind of just put a lighter shade here. Maybe I'll put this color just to make that stem come out. See, so now kind of the stem is more pronounced. You don't forget anything. You always try to get all the little details, because the more details you get, the more realistic it looks. And always remember that you can do it too. So remember, keep at it, don't give up, and you will be doing it too. So if you need any help, any suggestion, any ideas, something you could, ask, or I'd be glad to help you, you can get in touch with me. My website is Forte-Santiago.com. I would love to hear from you. And remember, you can do it too. Thanks for viewing.
You can do it too. Easy as 1, 2, 3. You can do it too. Come along and draw with me. Pads and pencils, a very good start. So when you draw with your heart. You draw with your heart, 'cause you can do it too.